A very good afternoon to all of you. How are you all? Feeling a little festive, are we? Yes. So I welcome you to this series 100 Most Expected MAH CET English Questions. Today is the part 1 of this series. I'm sure you've attended the sessions that have happened in this series as part of this series for Quant and LR already. Right? So I welcome you to this series, welcome you to this session, and I hope you'll learn a lot today. We'll talk about different question types that have been asked in MAH CET English. We'll practice some questions. We'll see how to approach such questions, right? So that's the agenda for today. And I think it'll be fruitful for you. Why? Because, see, I understand that, okay, March 17, 18, these are the tentative dates, right? However, you should not think that, oh, I have ample amount of time and therefore, I can take English lightly. So, a common attitude that I have encountered. So, I think that English is one section that requires consistency on your end, okay? And this consistency is what pays off in terms of vocabulary, especially in terms of grammar, especially in the exam. Okay, so start preparing right from now. Attend sessions, prepare outside the sessions also. Okay, after attending the sessions, learn some vocabulary words, learn grammar concepts. Okay, and you will see that when you whenever the exam happens, okay, you will find yourself better prepared for it, right? So that's the whole point of this series. Let's see who all are here. Hi Kajal, good afternoon. Hi Viral. Hi Videep, good noon. Good noon Amit. Hello Jonty. Yes, these will be helpful for CMAT as well. Okay, the preparation is similar. Why? Because of the fact that the topics that are asked in English are similar in CMAT and MAHCT. Just in that sense, the preparation for both the exams is similar. Okay, so very happy Holi to all of you. Yes, all of you must be in the holy mood. Yes, so do play, but play safe, play Holi safely. Yes, that's what I would suggest to you. Right. And also keep learning. Don't forget to attend various sessions, practice vocabulary, practice grammar. Okay. All right. So let's begin. This is our first question for the day, right? Five options because MAHCT gives you five options, right? Remember, there's no negative marking in the exam, so no negative marking here as well. And I want ample number of responses, then only I'll reveal the answer. Yes, so tell me, what is the synonym of this word, moribund? Yes. Good noon, Chetan. Hi, Radhika. You have to give me a synonym. What do you say? Okay, Jonty says B. All right. Shubham. Hi, Shubham. Quick, quick. This is a 20-second question. Okay, quick highlight says E. Good noon, Shristu. That's it, two responses. Okay, Yogin says B. All right. What about others? C. Okay. Five responses I've got. I need at least 30. So these are not difficult words, are they? If I look at words such as lucid, lively, are they difficult words? And I'm sure if you know obsolete, you can at least guess obsolescent, even if you do not know the exact meaning of obsolescent. Yes. So if there are five options in an exam, trust me, you can eliminate three of them. Right. How can you eliminate? Let's see. Moribund. Have you noticed this? That words that have more in them, such as morbid, okay, morgue, moribund here, mortality. Have you noticed this that they are associated with death? mortality. A morgue is where a dead body is taken to, right? Something that's morbid. It gives you this feeling of death, right? Morbid and moribund, they are in fact synonymous in that sense. So morbid, something that is that makes you feel as if something is about to die, right? A morbid atmosphere. Horror movies create that atmosphere. Moribund, to be very specific, it means on the verge of death. Okay. So associate words like this. So I associated more immediately with death, and that gave me an idea that okay, if I'm looking for a synonym, lively cannot be a synonym. Lucid, which again means something that's very clear, cannot be a synonym. Thriving, when you are thriving, you're not just alive, you're flourishing in life. That's when you are thriving, right? So all these three are eliminated right away. I am just left with A and C. So good, those who narrowed down to A and C. Okay, now out of these, I have got some C's here, three C's, all right. Then I've also got three E's. Okay, thriving cannot be a synonym. Thriving is an opposite idea. The answer here is obsolescent. This is a similar idea. It is also not an exact substitute of moribund. No, not at all. Obsolescent, again, something that is on the verge. Scent, when we have this ascent or scent, no, this means turning, right? So, for instance, who is an adolescent? An adolescent is turning into an adult. Adult here means adult, and ascent here means turning. Who is senescent? A person who is senile. Yes, a person who is senile has lost his or her, or has lost many of his or her cognitive abilities due to old age, right? Mental abilities due to old age is called senile. Senescent is a person who is turning senile, okay, or turning old, to be more precise, right? It's not used always to mean that somebody is turning senile, because senile has this negative connotation. So senescent is simply someone who is becoming old, and the associated side effects of being old come with it, right? So turning old is senescent. So obsolescent, adolescent, senescent, the idea was to tell you that, okay, you could have associated it like this, turning obsolete. So something that is turning obsolete is also about to, go out of fashion or about to die in that sense. And that is why C is a synonym here. Right? So you could eliminate three options here. After narrowing down to A and C, I think the word obsolescent was in fact easier for you to associate with moribund. Now, brusque, again, in fact, if you do not know the meaning of brusque, just associate it with brisk. Someone who's brusque is, abrupt and rude in their manner. There are people, no, who very abruptly just say something that puts you off. Such people are brusque. So, abrupt and off-handed in manner, rude and abrupt. So, this can be associated with brisk in that sense. Brisk is also something that's abrupt and fast, right? And this is what it means. So, it cannot be the answer. All right. So, please make such associations. All right. And I think through elimination, smart elimination, you can land at the correct answer. And even if, let's say, out of A and C, if you are highly confused, then just go with what your heart says, right? But do mark something. Okay. All right. Coming to antonym. Yes, the word is Dionysian. I have discussed it with you in some previous sessions. Let me see who all remember. Please read the instructions carefully, right? When I say antonym, please don't give me a synonym. This is a common error that students make in synonym antonym questions. Let's see who answers the fastest. I've got B from Ritesh. Others, what do we say? D from Milind. Okay. All right. Okay. So I've got four responses. What about others? Okay. Okay. So it's quite a few D's I've got. You have to give me the opposite idea. Opposite. Now, through this question, I want to demonstrate grouping and elimination to you, right? So I understand that these are not immensely easy questions. No, that's not the case. They are moderate to difficult questions. The previous question also and this one as well. Moderate, I would call the previous one. It was not difficult. And this one could be moderate to difficult for some of you because of words such as Dionysian and Bacchanalian, right? Now, you could have grouped and eliminated in case you knew the meaning of either Bacchanalian or Dionysian, right? So these three are synonymous ideas, A, D, and E. Because they are so similar in meaning, they are synonymous, none of them are the answers. Okay, so whoever said D, E, A, they are not the answers. Some of you said B, absolutely correct, and I'm really happy, excellent that you said B. Um, Dionysian is associated with, there's a story behind this word. So, see, you can learn words in an interesting manner by learning the stories behind them. Greek god of wine, drunken merrymaking, partying, right? They have a god for that as well, right? So, the Greek god for wine, partying, merrymaking, religious ecstasy, right? That is Dionysus. Dionysus. So the word Dionysian comes from there. So Dionysian pleasures or Dionysian aspects of life are the sensual, uh, partying aspects of life, so to say, right? Something that's very sensual, very spontaneous. So that is Dionysian. Bacchanalian is a synonym. So Bacchus is the Roman god of wine. So if you know a bit of history of philosophy, you would know that philosophy and a lot of religious stories and myths, they first developed in Greece and then they were translated to the Roman language. So the Romans adopted a lot of those myths. So that is why Bacchus became the Roman god of wine, drunken merrymaking, partying, ecstasy, etc. Right? So Bacchanalian is a synonym, sensual, spontaneous. Again, these are similar ideas. Eliminated. Diluvial is not at all related to this discussion. What is diluvial? Yes, it's associated with the word deluge, which means a flood. So, diluvial is associated or related to heavy flooding. That is what diluvial means, related to flooding. So, even this is not the answer. Ascetic. So, see, this is associated with partying and drunken merrymaking. Who is an ascetic? Or what would be the ascetic aspects of our life? Okay, an ascetic as a noun is a person who has renounced luxury and sensual pleasures. That person is an ascetic. So, sadhu sant, okay, they are ascetics. And if you use it as an adjective, the ascetic aspects of our life would be those aspects on which we exercise control, where we exercise moderation, where we don't indulge in excesses, right? So, that is the meaning of ascetic, and that's why these are answered. So please eliminate in synonym antonym questions. If you do not know the exact meaning, that's okay. Okay, just based on your knowledge of the fact that, okay, these appear to be similar ideas. So group, eliminate, right? Okay. Coming to an easier question, this is a fill in the blank question. You just have to fill this one blank. Let me see who answers the fastest. And I want a lot of responses for this one. Let's see. Okay, XYZ has answered the fastest. Others, what do you say? So you remember that nursery rhyme, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Yes, Jack fell down and came tumbling down, and Jill came after, something like that. So, to fetch a pail of water, pail is the bucket in which you carry water, right? So, the spelling for that pail is P-A-I-L. It is not this pail, it is definitely not pile. So, this was a fill in the blank that was testing your knowledge of commonly confused words, right? Can you distinguish between these two? That is what it was checking. Do you know the difference between a pail and a pile? Pile is just things put on top of each other, right? So this is a pile. Let's say a pile of clothes, right? Pale, when someone turns pale, what happens? Their color becomes yellowish, and usually someone becomes pale out of fear, out of anxiety, right? So no, not this pale. This is an adjective. This is a noun, and even this is a noun, right? So a water pail container. B Bangalore. Good. Most of you have answered this correctly. Okay. Correct spelling. Yes. In fact, this exact word I remember was asked in MAH CET. So, who will give me the correct spelling of this word? It's a humorous word, funny word. Let's see. A virtual toffee to the student who answers the fastest. I think Shreya has answered, or did Kajal answer the fastest? Okay. All right. Others, correct spelling. Spelling questions are 10-second questions, okay? They are not even 20-second questions. Okay, all right. So, do practice difficult spellings. They did appear in your exam last year, right? So, this is just an example of one word that did appear, discombobulate. Okay, now it is often used as an adjective. Discombobulate is a verb. We often use this word as an adjective. Discombobulated. This is the adjective. Okay. So when somebody is discombobulated, it's a funny way of saying that, oh, this person is all confused. This person doesn't know what to do right now, right? So that person is discombobulated. To present that in a caricatural manner, right? To present it in a funny manner, we can use this word. So of course, the correct spelling is E here, discombobulate. Okay, E is the answer. I think very few of you said E. That's okay. This is not a high frequency word as such, right? You would find it in relatively older novels. So, for instance, if you read P.G. Wodehouse, if anybody has read P.G. Wodehouse, you would find the usage of this word there, right? So, the answer is E here. So, do practice such questions. Now, coming to our next question. This is a fill in the blank based on idioms. Let's see what you say. Okay. C, all right. I've got D also. What else? C, okay. Bricks without straw. Okay. All right. All right. C. Okay. So, see, again, my effort is to bring relatively trickier questions to you, right? So, this is an idiom question, and you need to know the meanings of all of these in order to be able to attempt it, right? So, something that will serve you in the future as well. The answer is A, straw man arguments. So, in logic, see, while arguing with each other, when I say arguing, I don't mean that we are fighting with each other. Let's say we are arguing on a topic. You have one point of view, I have the opposite point of view. So, a debate is happening, a civilized debate, right? So, I present my argument, which is my viewpoint backed by reasons. You present your argument, which is your viewpoint backed by reasons. Now, sometimes what happens is that the reasoning that we indulge in may be flawed. Okay, we may indulge in flawed reasoning. So now, logic has actually categorized this flawed reasoning, giving such flawed reasons as fallacies, logical fallacies. That is what we call them. That this is fallacious reasoning. This is a logical fallacy. One type of logical fallacy is this, that we look at our opponent's argument, we turn it into extreme, right? We turn it into an extreme argument and then we say something that opposes that extreme. So, for instance, let's say you and your neighbor are arguing on something, there's a debate happening on a topic. So, your neighbor says that, the thefts around us have increased a lot. I think all the houses should have a CCTV camera, okay, outside their house. So, you tell your neighbor, uh, so do you mean that you don't trust your neighbors? What have you done? You have taken your neighbor's argument to the extreme. The neighbor never said that he or she does not trust the neighbors. He or she just talked about installing cameras, right? You just took it to the extreme that this person is suspicious even of his or her neighbors. So you get the idea that this is what we call a straw man argument. This is a logical fallacy where you take your opponent's argument, turn it into extreme, and then oppose that extreme thing. So, because that is a type of argument, straw man, this is the only word that fits here. No other terms actually fit here, no other idiom fits here. Last straw. What is a last straw? So, if I say, my cousin's betrayal acted as the last straw. So let's say I entrusted my cousin with a secret and she revealed it to my parents. Okay. So my cousin's betrayal acted as the last straw. Anyway, I did not like that cousin. Anyway, we had some problems between us. So when she did this was the last bit of annoyance, last bit of betrayal that I could tolerate from her. So when something minor happens, okay, it could be a minor annoyance, but because it comes on top of other annoyances, other such things that have been happening, other problems, the situation becomes unbearable. That is what we call the last straw, right? What is bricks without straw? Yes, last, correct. Bricks without straw. So making bricks without straw, that's how we use it. He's making bricks without straw. When someone is doing something, let's say completing a project without the appropriate resources, that is when we say that this person is making bricks without straw. So straws are used as raw materials in making bricks, right? So if you are doing something, if you're making bricks without straw, you don't have the appropriate raw materials, the resources. So for instance, if let's say you are working on a project in your company, but you've not been given enough money to execute that project. Okay, so in that case, you're making bricks without straw. Straw in the wind. Yes, straw in the wind. So, if something is a straw in the wind, it indicates a future, outcome. It indicates what is going to happen in the future. So, if I say that, let's say one company closes, right, because of losses. And I say, the closure of this company is actually a straw in the wind of the coming recession. It's an indicator of a larger trend. It's an indicator of the coming recession. So that is a straw in the wind, something that indicates the general direction of something. right? Okay. To get the short straw. If you get the short straw, imagine you want to drink something. Okay, there's a huge glass in front of you, and let's say all of you are sharing that drink. Okay, it's a bucket of sorts, you're sharing that drink, and you are the one who gets the short straw. Then you get allocated the meaning, the literal meaning of this is you get allocated the worst duty. When you are given the worst task out of a series of tasks, or you are given the worst duty, that is when you get the short straw, right? Happens at times, especially when you're the youngest sibling, you're always given the worst duty in the house in case some duties are allocated. So that is when you get the short straw. ठीक है, सबको समझ में आ गया? Everybody is clear with this? Straw man, last straw, making bricks without straw. Something that is a straw in the wind is an indicator of a larger trend, and to get the short straw. चलो चलो ठीक है, चलते हैं मिलिन. I just wanted to cement these ideas because idioms can, especially when they're similar, they can be confusing. जल्दी से बताओ, ये easy question. One word substitution. The last straw that broke the camel's back. Absolutely, Phoenix. Correct, correct. So if your camel was already overburdened and you placed one straw, even though it's so minor a thing, it'll break its back. Okay, okay. All right. Okay. D. Okay. A lot of D's I've got. Okay. One B from Shreya, from one from John T. Others. Okay. So mostly I see a B versus D in the chat box. Yes. I also see a couple of C's. But if he speaks less, can he be garrulous? This is not an antonym question. You just have to substitute something. Okay, speaks less. You have to substitute something for this idea, a word that conveys this idea of speaking less. So, reticent. Okay, so you're saying B and D are similar, confused. Who is a reticent person? This person is shy. Reticent means shy, when you're diffident, you are hesitant to reveal your feelings to others. So it's a general nature of a person. It's not primarily concerned with speaking only. But terse is a word that is concerned primarily with speaking. If you are terse or if you give terse replies, that means you give very short replies. You are very succinct in your words. You don't like to speak a lot. So the answer therefore is not reticent, it is terse. Right? That's why this was a confusing question. So I hope this is now clear. Garrulous is someone who talks a lot. Garrulous is an adjective, somebody who is talkative. Okay. Sullen simply means someone who is sulky. Terse people are perceived to be sullen by people because they give short replies. Prate, it's a verb. When you prate, you talk unnecessarily and at length. You talk nonsensically and at length. That is when you prate. ठीक है, a parrot prates. Okay. So you're saying reticent is someone who speaks less. It is, as I said, it's a general nature. So because of that, yes, a person may speak less. That is how it may manifest, but it's concerned with shyness rather than just speaking. Right? That's why B is a more appropriate answer here. All right. Now, wait, there is this context also here. Na? 1 minute. You have to look at the context as well. This is his first press conference with the media. He is anxious because he speaks less. He's anxious because he's terse. He's anxious because he's reticent. Still terse can fit. ठीक है. B will still be the answer. Even when I look at the context, even then B will still be the answer. He is anxious because he does not speak a lot. So that's why he thinks that he may be perceived as someone who is, let's say, sullen or somebody like that. Okay, coming to this one, analogy. Malapropism, that's how it is pronounced, and malaprop was the name of a character, Mrs. Malaprop, in a particular play. So the word comes from her name. Tell me what the answer should be here, quickly. Okay, A, D, all right. Let's see what the others say. So, of course, you have to give me a similar relationship. So, first figure out the relationship between the question pair. B, E, A, all right. So, this is what I've got. I've also got a D. Just a C remains. Okay, I've got a C also now. So, everything. So, mal means bad, right? A malpractice, malnutrition, malapropism. So, the character malaprop, why she was named malaprop was she used the incorrect word when some other word was required, and this produced a humorous effect. This produced a humorous effect. So, for instance, if let's say someone is very successful and I'm introducing this person and I say she is at the pineapple of her success, I meant to say that she is at the pinnacle of her success, but instead I say she is at the pineapple of her success. So, this is a malapropism using a similar sounding but incorrect word in place of another, which produces a humorous effect. Right, that is called a malapropism, and of course, it has to do with incorrect use of words. So, just like malapropism is a mistake associated with words, similarly, anachronism means something that is out of time, okay, something that is outdated. So, for instance, if today I start teaching you wearing Victorian clothes, okay, or wearing the clothes of the Rajas and the Maharajas as they used to wear in the ancient times, my clothes would be anachronistic, right? So, just like malapropism is a mistake related to words, anachronism is an outdated mistake of sorts related to time, something that appears to be misplaced. Okay. Now, ellipsis. What is ellipsis? An elliptical sentence. Ellipsis is a feature of a sentence. Some sentences are called elliptical sentences. For instance, when you ask me, how are you? And I say, fine. This is an elliptical sentence. I mean to say, I am fine. But instead of repeating this I am, I just say fine. Instead of saying this I am, I just say fine because this I am is understood. So this is called an elliptical sentence. It's incomplete, but it's still complete because you understand it from the context what I mean to say. Right? So it's a feature of a sentence. Okay. Ellipses are also these three dots. These three dots are also called ellipses. When let's say I want to say more, but I stop. So that's when I put these three dots. A lot of people pepper their WhatsApp conversations with these three dots. That is also ellipsis. Anyway, this is not a mistake. So eliminated. Zinjanthropus is actually just like, we have sapiens, we have Neanderthals, okay, in types of human beings. Similarly, some early type of human beings, they were called Zinjanthropus, right? So it is not related to apes in the sense that this was a mistake, eliminated. Pun is not associated with sarcasm always, right? Also, pun is not in the sense, again, it's not a mistake related to it, nothing out of place about it. So, ये भी out of place नहीं होता. Coming to catechism, yes. What is a catechism? A set of religious instructions that are used to teach religion to people. They are called, that is collectively called a catechism, a set of religious instructions. All right. Conspicuously old-fashioned. Correct, Vidip, for the anachronistic example. Yes, absolutely, Harsha. I would recommend them because we'll be doing vocabulary, grammar, a bit of logic in the sense of parajumbles, sentence jumbles. All of that is there in MAHCET as well. In Yes, in CMAT as well. That's what I meant. Similar term that refers to something that is out of proper chronological order. Correct, correct. A is the answer. Chalo, good that everybody has got it. I hope that you'll remember the other words also. Catechism, right? You'll understand you'll now use malapropism as a word, right? Let's move to another question type that I've seen in your previous year papers, word usage. So one word is given to you. It is used in 4 sentences here. There could be more in the exam. And you have to tell me in which sentences it has been used correctly. Okay, so quickly tell me. Okay, XYZ, we can plan something around it. There are easy questions also, Abhiram. See, I have deliberately kept the level a little higher for now. As we come nearer the exam in the last 4 5 days, I'll give you the exact same level as CET. Right now, the level is a little higher so that you prepare for something more difficult, such that when the easy things come in the exam, they appear even easier. That's the idea. So, yes, some of the questions that I've done with you, they are on the difficult side. I stated this in the beginning itself. Okay, A, C, D. All right. What else? So, D is currently ruling in the chat box. You have to give me the correct usage. Okay. All right. Others, come on. So I'm waiting for one correct answer. So far, I don't think I've got the correct answer. Okay. Phoenix says B. Right. So B is the correct answer here. Let's see why. Bar has a number of meanings. First, bar is simply, let's say, a metal, a rod of metal is also called a bar of metal, right? Then your piece of chocolate is called a chocolate bar. So bar is simply an elongated piece of something. That's the usual, most common meaning. However, bar can also be used as a verb. To bar someone is to prohibit someone, to disallow someone. So if I bar someone from the exam, that means I don't allow them to sit in the exam, right? So because of his age, he was barred from, he was prohibited from entering the theater. This is an absolutely correct sentence. So either this or this. Okay, all are not correct. I'll show you why. He barred his soul to the preacher. That means he prohibited his soul to the preacher. This is incorrect in terms of meaning, in terms of grammar. He bared his soul. You bare your soul. Okay, when you lay your soul bare or when you bare your soul as a verb, you just reveal everything about it to the preacher, right? So you bearing your soul in front of someone is telling them what has been bothering you, telling them all your secrets. So this is incorrect and that's why eliminated. Now, the barred, all bards. This is a tricky sentence, I agree. Uh, the bar here, yes, what is the bar? In case you've seen some series, law related legal series, then the law aspirants have to pass the bar there. So the bar is an examination, right? It's actually a body, the legal body of various places. It's referred to as the bar colloquially, right? So for instance, the ICAI is called the institute colloquially by a lot of CA aspirants. Similarly, the bar, legal aspirants use the body that actually conducts examinations or gives license to lawyers as the bar. So the bar, what did it do? Okay, the bar barred, it prohibited, okay, all bards. Now this bard, it means a poet. So Shakespeare is sometimes referred to not as this bard, as a bard, B-A-R-D. That's why this was incorrect. So the bar barred all bards. This means that the law body did not allow poets to take the examination. That is the meaning here. Okay. So 3 and 4 are fine, and that's why B is going to be the answer. Okay. Does it make sense? Yes. B, Bangalore. Okay. Let's look at this question. It's again a grammar based question, right? So that was a combination of vocabulary and grammar. Word usage is usually a combination of vocabulary and grammar. This is a purely grammatical question. We have discussed it in one of the previous sessions. Let's see who remembers. Parth, it's a tricky terrain actually. Um, to give you an example, for instance, a word such as salubrious, or even better, let's look at a word limpid. Now, when you hear this word limpid, it appears as if somebody is limping, isn't it? But actually, limpid means clear. So it's a risky, tricky terrain to do that. Salubrious appears a very scandalous word to me, as if there's something negative about it. But it's a perfectly positive word. It means healthy, right? So that's why I would not recommend that. Okay. Anyway, let's see what you say here. C is what a lot of you say. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Everybody has answered. I want multiple responses here. Okay, I've got some D's, one A also. So these are again, this was a 15-20 second question. And I understand that your main confusion should be between these two. Okay. Reconciled. We usually use this preposition with the verb reconciled. Now, prepositions is one such area in grammar which sometimes uh, is actually like vocabulary, because the use, so for instance, with reconciled, usually we use with when we say reconcile with someone. So let's say he reconciled with his spouse. Okay, that means earlier they might have had a fight, then they reconciled with each other. Okay, they basically resolve whatever differences were there between them. So in that sense, we use with reconcile. But here, this person is not reconciling with someone with whom he or she had some differences or fights, let's say, okay, disputes. That's not the idea. Here, it is used in the sense of adapting. Okay, so children should be adapted to the fast pace of change in today's world. Reconciled, to is the correct preposition here, not with. Make sense? D, Delhi is the answer and not C. Some of you said A also, reconcile for. No, this is, I think this is an incorrect usage, out and out, could have been rejected easily. These are the two close options. Fine. So two. Now, how can you prepare for prepositions? I've told you earlier as well. Practice fill in the blanks based on prepositions. You will find them in previous year papers. You'll find them in non-CAT papers. You'll also find them in Wren and Martin. Right? A lot of them actually. So through that, you'll become better at them. Now, let's have a look at a sentence correction question. Let's see what you say. So now we've come to grammar. Eliminate. Okay, D, C, all right. D, E, B also, E also. Okay. So pretty much everything except A. Quite a few of you say E now. Okay, let's have a look. This was okay. I'll tell you what the concept that is involved here. First, let's eliminate the wrong options, the easy ones that we can eliminate. A was simply a repetition of the original underlined phrase, right? People who do good work to the corporation, good work to the corporation, okay, wherever they are. So, what does this wherever they are refer to? Yes, corporation. No, right? It refers to people. So this here is a misplaced modifier. The concept involved here is that of modifiers. It's a misplaced phrase. It should not be placed here. It should be placed near people. Whatever they do should also be placed near people. So I have spotted some errors right, at the stage when I'm reading the question. Will be assets to the valued corporation or will be valued assets to the corporation? Again, a misplaced modifier here, a misplaced adjective. So A is eliminated, right? Then now let's have a look at C. People who whatever good they do to the corporation. People who whatever good they do. Is this grammatically correct? This is not grammatically correct. People who whatever good they do. People who do good work, whatever they do, that would make sense. People who do good work, then I should have placed a dash after it. People who do good work, whatever they do. कुछ भी है उस good work में, that makes sense. Okay, eliminated. People who good to the corporation. This does not even have good. So this was a very easy option to eliminate. Option D. There is no do here. Now, people who work good, people who do good work, again eliminated right at this stage. So D and E, easy options to eliminate. C does not make grammatical sense. In A, I had already identified errors. B is the answer. Now, people who do good work. Now I'm explaining what do I mean by good work. Okay, whatever they do. Now, and wherever these people are. Now it's a commentary on what I've just stated earlier. People who do good work, चाहे कुछ भी करें, कहीं भी हो, ठीक है, will be valued assets to the corporation. That's the idea. Make sense to everyone? B, Bangalore is the answer, not E. Any queries, please ask. This is a modifier question. You can get, in fact, you have got such questions wherein you have to replace a phrase. So what I'm doing here is again replacing this phrase itself, replacing this group of words. Okay. We have to replace do as well. Acha, do is missing here. I am so sorry. Just a second. Do should have been present here, or it should not have been underlined here. Wait, it should not have been underlined here actually. Okay, and going by that, people who do good to the corporation wherever they are. Now this is missing, this is incomplete. On that rationale, on that basis, I should have eliminated D. Okay, do should not have been underlined. My bad, my bad. Okay, still B is the answer, right? My bad, okay? Weirdo, weirdo, Phoenix. Do should not have been underlined. Okay. See, even if let's say some of you are thinking that in its absence should, if let's say this mistake happened on my end, then should E be correct? E is still not correct because E unnecessarily creates so much gap between people and the qualities that I'm using to describe those people, right? Wherever they are, whatever they do, you should always place the description as near as possible to the word that is being described. Okay, so E is not correct. Okay. Sorry, my bad there. Look at this one. No errors here. You have to give me the correct sentence. One sentence has been repeated 5 times with some, of course, changes. So tell me which is the correct one. Let's see what you say. Let's see who answers the fastest. Beardo says E. Videep says C. Akin says E. All right. C. So C versus E in the chat box. Others. E. Okay. So E is winning now. All right. E. Okay. C. Okay. C made a comeback for a while. Okay. So this is a very basic concept. This is an easy question. This is not a tricky question. Each is a pronoun that is always singular. So I would recommend that you learn the rules related to subject verb agreement. Go through them. Subject verb agreement. This is that kind of question that employs this concept. So each of the girls, no matter if I say girls, each is still singular. The subject here is each. Each living in the orphanage had been ill-treated by her family is correct. Before she was abandoned. So incorrect. Incorrect. Okay. Then this again incorrect. It comes down to C and D. In C and D, the concept used is of tenses, the concept on the basis of which you will distinguish between them. So, before she was abandoned would be correct, no? Two actions happened, one before the other. Right, so the one that happened earlier, the first action, that takes had been, that takes had, right? The second one has the simple past. So, this C is the answer here. Good, those who said C. Very happy to see this. These are some basic concepts, tenses or subject verb agreement. You should know these. Okay, the last question for the day. I want a lot of responses. Okay, enthusiastic responses and ample number of responses. Let's see. Spot the error. Correct, Vidip. A or E, all right. D. C. Okay. Others. Such few responses. B. Okay. C. B. Okay. D. All right. Okay. Okay. Weirdo. Have you narrowed down to one single option? Videep says E. Achal says E. Okay. The answer is E. No error. This is a correct sentence. The number of acres that have been destroyed. Here it will be have only because that refers to acres which is plural. So the number of acres that have been destroyed by wildfires has increased. Now this will be has because this verb here refers to the number. The number as a subject is always singular. Okay, because when I say the number, I'm talking about one specific number there. Let's say 3,000, 2,000. It's one specific number. So the number has increased. Earlier, if the number was 2,000, now it has increased to 3,000. The number has increased dramatically over the past several years. So this will be has, this will be have because it refers to acres. E is the answer. No error here. Any queries in the questions that you prepare? I took this session called MAH CET Decoded, where I talked about preparation and strategy, everything. Right? So stay connected. Welcome, guys. I hope you've subscribed to the channel. You can also download our app. There also we conduct quite a few informative sessions. There are a lot of free tests also available here for vocabulary and grammar. They'll help you for your CT. Okay. So I'll see you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Yes, Beneath, you absolutely can. In fact, if you are planning to, then you should start right now. Okay. I really, so Phoenix, it's a very difficult question that you asked me because the score varies depending on the difficulty level of the exam. So, for instance, last year also there were wide fluctuations from one slot to the other. So that's why I refrain from commenting on this. Okay. Just give your best. Okay. Leave the rest to the God. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Okay. For CMAT 2. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome. Bye bye. Happy Holi, yes, happy Holi to all of you.